It's falling to rise no more again. Babylon is falling, it's falling. Freedom is here, my friend, not just part of the mission. Yeah, our shine never come bring peace in start of the vision. Now put your trust in our riches and wealth, guns are ammunition. But just the last statutes and commandments, we make the decision to keep them with precision. I just part of the mission. Daniel get a vision, him see the black Christ, it wasn't a white depiction. No allegiance to Rome nor its regions, come out them religion if you want be a free man. Cause the deacons them full of demons, same situation with Rasta with Islam. Only beacon of hope for your lean on is UPK and the General Yana. Every fowl of the ear, every beast of the field, every creeping thing we creep on land, every mouth of the clear, loud and clear. Yeah, our shy Mashiach is a black man who have fear. Let spiritually separate from Babylon. We no weak, we no fear, wheat we no tear. Bun Saddam, my bun Batty man are just part of the mission. Yeah, our shine never come bring peace in start of the vision. No put your trust in our riches and wealth, guns are ammunition. I just the last statutes and commandments, we make the decision to keep them with precision. Just part of the mission. Send evils and curses on the whole city and the beasts and all churches. America fall, them deserve it. Rome get defeated to repeat another first thing. Hey, 400 years them work with, then desert with, then turn round and call we worthless. But now the COVID lurking, them hurting, and then the doctors and nurses. Hey, one day to your building of a turn after the long journey. No care much money you a earn if you still want Babylon burn. One day to your building of a turn after the long journey. No care much money you a earn. Hey, I just part of the mission. Yeah, our shine never come bring peace in start of the vision. No put your trust in our riches and wealth, guns are ammunition. I just the last statutes and commandments, we make the decision to keep them with precision. I just part of the mission.
Testing 1, 2. All righty. All right. So log in. Let me get my notes out real quick and get started right now. All right. All right. All right. Shalom, Israel. What's going on? Salakia for being tardy. We're gonna get started today with Tuesday Brotherhood class. If not knowing, or if not aware, today is a day of how can I say? Today is the day of Guadalupe. I don't know if any of your brothers and sisters know exactly what that day is based on. We're gonna get into the details of that day. It's highly celebrated with the 10 tribes. I mean, even our people, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean, we're gonna yep, that's right, Halak. Hey, Shalom Lord Christ Halak, Shalom Lord Christ Trooper Kadash. Hey, Shalom Lord Christ Adawan, Lahab. Tapping in. Who else we got? Denny's. Hey, Shalom Lord Christ. All right, so yeah. So we're gonna get into the history of the day of Guadalupe. We're gonna get into details about it. So we can be aware of the wickedness that our oppressor tries to push on us. We're going to get into why the day of Guadalupe is a wicked day. You know what I mean? We got the proof. You know what I mean? We will bring out the proof. You know what I mean? This is the ISUPK. I'm the Commander General Hana. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to bring out all the details. I was supposed to be joined by a brother. Hopefully he taps in. But we might have a guest from the tribe of Yashikar to give us a couple of details of things he's experienced as far as when it comes to the day of Guadalupe. But I'll go into what this day is kind of based on, okay? So let's get to the notes. So this day is based on, pretty much it's based on idol worship. That's the main key factor I can pretty much base this on. It's idol worship. It is something that our oppressors pushed on our brothers and sisters who are out here in Mexico and America during the time period where the conquistadors, the Spaniards came and started to take over and try to push Catholic and Christian doctrine on us. You know what I mean? So this goes all into that time period, because we have to understand at that time period, what time period? I got a date of the 1520s is when this was being pushed on us. 1520s, and it was a time period where the Spaniards were taking over the land of Mexico. You know what I mean? And enslaving our people. Now, if you leave it to history to try to tell the history background of this, they'll say that Mexico, the tribes in Mexico were brutal. They were cannibals. They were eating each other. They were wearing each other's skin. But all in all, we know who the true devil is in the Bible. We know exactly who brings out certain topics about our mishaps and our misfaults. But at the end of the day, we know who's really the abuser, the brute one, the person who comes in and unalives and abuses every nation, including mainly the nation of Israel. You know what I mean? And all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, so they came in and they brought their brute mentality, and if you leave it to them to tell it, it was us that was the brute ones. But at the end of the day, we know exactly who was the ones abusing who at that time period. So the Spaniards came, started to take over, enslave our people, trying to push Christianity, trying to push the Catholic doctrine on our people, but they weren't having it at that time period. They weren't accepting the Catholic structure and culture. So what is it that the devil does? He's supposed to deceive, right? So in his deceitful ways, he starts to bring things that we could, how can I say, we could cope with, or we could relate to, you know what I mean, as far as something that goes on with our culture. So what they did was they brought a doctrine, and a doctrine all in the likes of trying to get our people to pretty much to obey, first of all, but they brought out a doctrine so our people could have something they could relate to, so they can serve the Catholic doctrine. Okay, and this is what the day of Guadalupe is all based on. So our oppressors made up this false idol using Mary, using Christ's mother. Okay, so what the story is about it is that, okay, so we got the dates in the 1920s. We know what was going on with our people at that time period. We were being enslaved, we were being abused, we were being conquered, we were being you know what I mean, oppressed. But they made up a doctrine saying that there was a farmer, right? Now pay attention. There's a farmer named it's Juan Diego, right? And Juan Diego, let's see. Juan Diego was a farmer, and he received a vision, which was Mary. Mary was the vision. Now, was this vision real? Does anybody know if Juan Diego really saw or witnessed Mary? Does anybody know in the chat that can answer that? All right, well, nobody's answering, so I'm just going to answer for you then. No, he did not see Mary. You know what I mean? He did not see Mary. A vision did not appear. Oh, there we go. There we go, Denise. Oh, yep. He did not see a vision of Mary because at that time period, first of all, Mary's dead. You don't Mary's not the. They tried to make Mary into the how can I say? They tried to make her more of a angelic being because she gave birth to Christ. Okay, they try to make her angelic and they try to make her something to worship because she was the mother of Christ. But not only that, they believe and they've been pushing out the doctrine that Mary was immaculately conceived. Well, she gave birth to Christ through God. Christ had no father. God literally put, which God, I mean, in their doctrine, God is Christ. So Christ put himself in his mother and she gave birth. Okay. She never was with her husband. She never slept with her husband. She just came up out of nowhere and was just pregnant out of nowhere. Okay. And we all know that doctrine is false. You know what I mean? We know that Christ had a father. His father was Joseph. Okay. You know what I mean? We know that Mary and Joseph had sex. We know that they had sex to have Christ. It's written in the Bible. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So the fact is, they're pushing a Roman doctrine to try to, and they've been pushing it for this long. But this is what they've been trying to blend in, making Mary an angelic being. Okay, someone that you should get on your knees and pray to, and bow your head to, and worship. Okay. But what does the Bible tell us? You know what I mean? That God is the only one that should be worshipped. You know what I'm saying? God is the only God that is worthy of worship. You know what I mean? He's the utmost God. He's the most high God. You know what I'm saying? Mary didn't have any superpowers. Mary didn't have any angelic powers where she could die and come back and be a form of an angel. That's completely false. You know what I mean? That is something that our oppressors made up in order to get our people to continue to keep on idol worshiping and to keep on dancing to the tune of their own drum. Okay, so what happens is that Mary appears to Juan Diego, and she gives him instructions to I forgot what the point was of. It was let me see. Let me check into my notes. She went to him for a reason though. But it says Juan Diego went to a bishop. Okay, so she wanted him to speak to the bishop. She wanted to have an altar built in her on her behalf. She wanted an altar built for her. You know what I mean? So she went to Juan Diego to get an altar built for her. You know what I mean? So he had to go to a bishop and tell him the new doctrine that Mary appeared to him, and that she's requesting that he makes an altar in her manner. Okay, so let's get into the Bible. Let's get into some Bible facts. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 4. Now we're gonna show in the Bible terms why this is a wicked and doctrine. Okay, so we're going to read the book of Exodus, chapter 9 and verse 4 through 6. I'm sorry, did I say Ecclesiastes? It's Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 9 and 4 through 6. And the book of Ecclesiastes 9 verse 4 says, whoever is among the living can be certain. It's like it. I'm gonna start at. Okay, I'll start at 4. Whoever is among the living can be certain about this. A living dog. No, actually, I should have started a little bit higher. Let me see. It's lucky. Let me start at. I think I'm gonna start at 2. I'll start at 3. So lucky. This is the sad thing about all that happens under the sun. The same fate awaits everyone. Moreover, the human heart is full of evil. People's minds are full of madness while they are alive, and afterward they die. Whoever is among the living can be certain about this: a living dog is definitely better off than a dead lion. Why is the Bible saying a living dog is better than a dead lion? Is because it's not because the dog is mightier than the lion. It's not because he's stronger than the lion. It's because God is the God of the living. That's what this precept is pretty much going into. God is the God of the living. He's not the God of the dead. At this time period, Mary is dead. She cannot come back and be an angelic angel. You know what I mean? It's not biblical. You know what I mean? You can't, when we die, we just die. Let me see. I'm sick that I highlighted the wrong scripture. Let me see. I think I'm supposed to start a little bit higher, but wanted to get into this is so I consider long careful. Yeah, see, I'm gonna keep on reading actually. Okay, so let's just go back into that. Because a living, okay, yeah, it is that. Okay, a living dog is definitely better off than a dead lion, because the living know that they will die. Now, this is getting into God being the God of the living. But the dead know nothing at all. Read that again. But the dead know nothing at all. There is no more reward for them. Even the memory of them is lost. So this is the thing. Mary is not come back from the dead. She's not appeared out of nowhere. That is a false doctrine. Okay. The dead know nothing. You know what I mean? And at that time period, Mary is dead. You know what I mean? During the 1500s, Mary's dead. She can't come back. She's not appearing. That she's not had that angelic. There was nothing angelic about it. You know what I mean? She was just the mother of Christ. That was it. You know what I mean? But we'll get into we'll get into some a little bit later. But so let's keep on going into the history of it. Okay, so it says that Juan Diego went to a bishop and asked that an altar be built in Mary's honor. The bishop didn't believe Juan and sent him away. Okay, so he went to go request an altar. The bishop didn't believe him because the bishop is stuck to his Catholic doctrine at the time period, and he's just like, even though I'm pretty sure all this is fake, but at the end of the day, this is just this is the history of it. Okay, so it says Mary appeared to Juan again, saying she didn't make a mistake choosing a humble farmer, and that he needs to go again in confidence because she is with him. So what she's saying is that she didn't choose a poor man, a man without respect or honor. You know what I mean? She didn't choose. Hey, Shalom Lord Christ, hold on. She didn't choose him, but because he was great, she chose him. She's pretty much trying to sound as like the Most High. She says she chose him, but be confident when you go back to the bishop because she's with him. So she's the protector. She's the one protecting him. You know what I mean? This is a wicked doctrine that we're talking about here. So Mary's the protector. Mary's the one who sends them off. She's the angelic one. She's the one who is the one calling the shots and making the miracles happen. Okay, so she comes up. She appears back to Juan Diego and tells him to go back to the bishop and request that he built an altar for him. Now, this is how we know that this is a wicked doctrine, because you don't build altars for beings. You know what I'm saying? Even if Mary was angelic, which is untrue, you still wouldn't build an altar for her. This is how you know this is not of the Bible. You know what I mean? Let's get into that right now, actually. Let's go to let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 1. Deuteronomy 12 and 1. So the book of Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 1 says, "These are the regulations and the case laws that you must carefully keep in the fertile land the Lord your ancestors, God, has given to you to possess for as long as you live on that land. You must completely destroy every place where the nations that you are displacing worship their gods, whether on high mountains or hills or under leafy green trees. Rip down their altars. Read that one more time. Rip down their altars and shatter their sacred stones. Burn their sacred poles with fire. Hack their gods' idols into pieces. Wipe out their names from that place. The Lord is saying, rip down those altars. He doesn't want us building altars for heathen gods. He doesn't want us building altars for angelic beings that people made up. He wants his altars to be specifically for him in the land when we get our land back. You know what I mean? But all in all, at the end of the day, we don't get down and bow down and serve an image. We don't serve an idol. You know what I mean? They're saying make an altar for Mary so that she can be in a place of worship and be worshiped. And that's where our people are falling short at, because of the lack of knowledge, not knowing that God doesn't want us bowing down to anybody or serving anyone but him. You know what I mean? So that's one within itself, showing that how wicked this doctrine is. You know what I'm saying? Because they're telling you to build an altar for Mary. I mean, so this is the idolatry on people fall for, just like they fall for pagan holidays. Yes. This is exactly the same thing. I mean, we can call it a pagan holiday pretty much because it was a doctrine that was made up for a day to be recognized, but it's not a day for the Lord. It's a day for Mary. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Okay, so let's keep it going. So the Lord is saying, tear down those altars. Okay, let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 4. The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 4. The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 4 says, do not make an idol for yourself, no form whatsoever. Y'all hear what the Bible is saying? You know what I'm saying? Then this is exactly what is being done in this wicked doctrine. They're making an idol, something for you to bow down and for you to worship. Now, you could say that you're not worshiping it, but you're really worshiping God. No, you're worshiping Mary. You're praying to Mary. You know what I mean? You're building your altars up and giving sacrifices for Mary, not for the Lord. You are acknowledging her, the doctrine that was made up for her being a virgin who never had sex, that gave birth to Christ. But that is not true. That's false doctrine. And not just that, you're being led into serving a false idol. Okay? I'm gonna read that one more time. Do not make an idol for yourself, no form whatsoever of anything in the sky above or on the earth below or in the waters under the earth. Do not bow down to them or worship them, because I, the Lord, your God, am a passionate God. I punish children for their parents' sins. I punish children for their parents' sins, even to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me. And that's the problem with our people. We have a distinctive hatred for the Lord. Otherwise, we wouldn't be serving these pagan holidays. We wouldn't be serving these pagan worship days, these horrible, evil, wicked doctrines. We wouldn't serve them. If we love the Lord, we wouldn't serve these days. We would know that it's a wicked thing to pray to an angelic being that's not the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Christ is a mediator to the Lord. You can get your message sent through Christ, but at the end of the day, we know who's the one calling the shots. The Most High is. You know what I mean? Not Mary. Okay, so let's keep going. So let's keep on getting into the history of it. So she appears to Juan Diego again, tells him to go back to the bishop. She says, I am with you. She's pretty much putting herself into a position of being a God. I am with you. Be confident. I am with you. Go speak. Go talk to the bishop again. Okay. So what does this say? Let's see. Okay, let me get back to where we was at. It says, okay, so and then as she's speaking to him, this is how she reveals herself. This is the wickedness that comes in with it. She revealed herself as the mother of author of life, of the author of life, the mother of the one true God. You know what I'm saying? Like, this doctrine is saying that Christ is the God. The son she gave birth to is God. Now, reading the Bible, you know that that's not true. You know what I mean? Christ was not on the cross pleading to himself. He was not pleading to the skies and saying, Father, Father, you know what I mean? And speaking to himself. That's false. You know what I mean? But a lot of people will try to push that doctrine that Christ is actually God. It's still false doctrine. You know what I mean? And it just needs to completely be done away with, because it's a routine thing that's been happening for our people that keeps them lost and keeps them in ignorance and complete blindness, not knowing the true scriptures of the Bible. You know what I mean? And falling into wicked ways, serving false idols because of the ignorance. Okay? You know what I mean? She didn't give birth to God. You know what I mean? She gave birth to a son who came out through sex with her husband and lived his life perfectly and became the ultimate sacrifice for all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to be recommitted into the covenant. You know what I mean? The promises that we kept to the Lord, saying that we was going to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? That's what the true scriptures of the Bible says. It doesn't say that Christ was God. It doesn't say that, you know what I mean, that there is no Most High, but Christ is actually the Most High. And Mary gave birth to God. Like, it's blasphemy. Okay, now let's keep going. And it says that Juan went back to the bishop, and the bishop asked for a sign, saying, if this is truly from God, a sign will appear. So she goes back to the bishop, and he's telling them, like, you need to build this altar because it was a vision that was sent to me. And so the bishop is just like, okay, well, if it's a sign from God, then we should be able to see a vision. We should be able to see something. Okay. Now here we go. This is where this image is being created. You know what I mean? If you can see the image that's behind me, you know what I mean? This is the image that was created and made for our people to pray to and to worship. Okay. This is exactly where it comes from. Okay. So what it says is that Mary appeared to Juan again and told him to go up to Tibiac Hill. Juan found Castilian roses, and they weren't native in that area. But he said he put them in his cloak, and Mary rearranged them for him and sent him to the bishop. So he's taking these roses off the ground, these roses that are not native to that area, and he's stuffing them in his suit or his garment. You know what I mean? And he's pushing them in his garment, and he's stuffing a whole bunch of roses in there. And it's saying that Mary's rearranging the roses in his garment. Okay. So he goes back to the bishop, right? He's going back to the bishop with the roses in his outfit, right? And he's carrying a whole bunch of roses, right? And what does it say? It says when he got to the bishop, he unfurled his, it's called a toma. He unfurled his toma and outflowed the roses, and the image of Mary appeared. This image right here. So it's saying when he opened his outfit, all the roses fell to the ground, and it formed an appearance for Mary to appear. And that image caused the proof that they needed to build an altar for Mary. Now, this is the history of it. Now, that image still to this day is being bowed down and worshiped to. You know what I mean? That false story that we just went through just now, that false history that we just went through just now, is still being a representation, a pillar for our Hispanic brothers and sisters, or any of our brothers and sisters who follow the Catholic doctrine, things of that nature. It's a pillar for them. They get on their knees and they bow and they pray to this image. They serve this image and they worship this image. But like we said, knowing the Bible, God forbids that. God forbids us to pray to false images. He forbids us to pray to false idols. This is what he forbids us from doing these particular things. Okay, so we got to understand that this is a custom that is completely against the Bible. It's completely against the Most High. And it's completely in a route to get you to serve false idols. Okay, so let's see. Let's get back in the scriptures. So our people are they're using this day to praise Mary on that altar, to praise this image of Mary because of the image that was seen by the bishop and Juan Diego. You know what I'm saying? And that image is a portrait and used as a yes, they do. They crawl on their knees. Yes, I'm gonna go there. I got that too. We're gonna get into that too. But this is how we didn't we just get into getting on your knees and worshiping idols. This is what they're doing. They crawl on their knees. Exactly, Denny's. We're gonna get into that right quick too. I got a video for that. But let's go to, let's see. Let's go to Romans 1:25. The book of Romans 1:25, real quick, and then we'll get into Wisdom of Solomon. So the book of Romans 1:25. So let me get to 1:25. Okay. Let me just make sure that's done. Okay, it says, they traded God's truth for a lie, and they worshiped and served the creation instead of the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. So they have worshiped the doctrine of Mary being a virgin, given immaculate conception, but they're praising Mary as if she was the angelic one. She had something to do with, it was something about her that was so righteous and angelic that's why the Lord chose her. And that's why, but this is why I'm just getting to as far as what they teach in the Roman doctrine. Okay, so the Lord is saying they're serving the creation more than the Creator. You know what I mean? Like you don't serve anything other than God. You pray to the Lord and thank Him for the things that He's done, not what Mary's done. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's a bunch of BS. Thank you a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very messed up doctrine. It's very, very wicked doctrine. And when you have knowledge of the truth of the Bible, you see exactly how disturbing this doctrine is. You know what I mean? They're getting you to pray. You know what I mean? It's a disrespect to Christ's mother as well, because you know what I mean, she didn't ask for that. She didn't want people to use her name as a false idol. You know what I mean? But all in all, at the end of the day, the all oppressors are willing to do anything to create a narrative that has absolutely nothing to do with the true God that we serve. You know what I mean? And in our ignorance, we're going to continue to keep on serving false idols and breaking the law because we are first of all disobedient, and we're ignorant at this time period. We're completely ignorant. Roman Catholic Church, bunch of devil. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So, he's saying you serve the creation instead of the Creator. You serving this portrait, this picture. You're serving the doctrine that was created and not serving the actual Creator. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13 and verse 10. Let's see how God feels about you for serving this idol. So Wisdom of Solomon, let's see, let me get to it. I gotta have it cut too. Wisdom of Solomon. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13 and verse 10. Wisdom of Solomon, 13 and 10. And it says, how much more miserable, though are those people who put their trust in things that are dead. You know what I mean? When you create an idol to worship, it's a dead idol. It's not living. It's not when you put this picture up in your home, it's not a living thing that you can sit that's going to manifest some type of miracle for you. When you have this image in your home in your Catholic churches, that image is not going to create a miracle that is going to bestow in your life to help you for the better. You know what I mean? It's really killing you. That you praying to that image is actually killing you. It's going to create you and your children to die and your generations to come to die because you're disobeying God. You're putting yourself in a position to be murdered. Salaki. Scratch that word. You're putting yourself in a position not to be murdered, first of all, because Lord doesn't murder, but you're putting yourself in a position to have wicked things come to you. And certain things in those positions would lead you to be unalived. You know what I mean? And you're subjected to that because you don't have the protection of the Lord, because you're serving false idols. And you think that you're doing something, you think you're doing something righteous. You think that you're doing something that the Lord loves, but the Lord hates what you're doing. The Lord hates the days that our oppressors created and these doctrines that our oppressors created that are destroying us day in and day out. He hates these things. He doesn't agree with anything that we're doing as far as serving these idols. You know what I mean? Hanging these pictures up in our homes and, you know what I mean, bowing our heads and praying to them, walking on our knees. You know what I mean? Giving so much. You know what I mean? You're not even getting on your knees for the Lord. You're not even begging the Lord for mercy. You know what I mean? You begging Mary. You giving more energy for a false. That ain't even Mary. I'm gonna stop saying Mary. You know what I mean? That's not Mary. That is that's I don't know what I can call that. I'll just call it. I don't know. What can I call it? Can I just call it Guadalupe? I don't know. But you're serving that right there. That's not Christ's mother. And even if Christ's mother didn't have any angelic powers, you know what I mean? So you're serving that. I'm just going to call it that. I don't know what to call it. That's not Mary. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that image right there, that's what you get on your knees and you pray to. And you're begging it for a blessing. You're begging it for protection. But at the end of the day, that thing is not going to protect you. It's actually subjecting you into being harmed, for your children being harmed. Yeah, we just read verse 10. We just read verse 10. In the Wisdom of Solomon, 13 and 10. We just read that. Okay. I'll read it one more time though. So it says, how much more miserable though are those people who put their trust in things that are dead. These people call gods the works of human hands, objects of gold and silver that artisans practice on artistic representation of animals, even worthless stones carved by someone long ago, or even an image of someone who they are claiming to be married, something that they're claiming to be married. Even that, you know what I'm saying? It says people, artists. This is something that an artist made. An artist drew that. And you get on your knees and you bow your head and you pray to it. You know what I'm saying? This is the Bible speaking. You know what I'm saying? This is something that the Bible is already putting in our minds and our and giving us the knowledge to know that don't do these things, but and yet we still continue to keep on doing them. So yeah, so he's saying these things are dead. These idols are dead. These are not living powers. You know what I mean, these are fake, made up things made up by human hands. Humans made this up. It was just it came out of someone's imagination. I mean, it's not a true power. All right, so let's keep going. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 135 and verse 15. The book of Psalms 135 and 15. Get there real quick. All right, so the book of Psalms, chapter 135 and verse 15. So like it? It says, the nations' idols are just silver and gold, things made by human hands. Sound familiar? Don't it? We just got there talking about that. They have mouths, but they can't speak. They have eyes, but they can't see. They have ears, but they can't listen. What do you think this image is doing? Do you think this image is listening to your prayers? Do you think this image is answering the prayers that you give it and protecting your family and protecting your home and giving you blessings? And no, I mean, you're praying to a false idol. This has no breath of life in it. The so-called Mary is not going to jump out of that portrait and, you know what I mean, overshadow your family with beautiful blessings and protection. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. It's a picture. It's a picture. And it's not even Mary. You don't know who you're praying to. But it says they have mouths, but they can't speak. That portrait's not going to speak to you. They have eyes, but they can't see. That portrait is not looking at you, even though they got a doctrine saying that portrait is something angelic about the eyes. We're going to get into that. It says they have ears, but they can't listen. She's not listening to your prayers. She's not listening to you praising her. She's not listening to you begging for mercy. She can't hear you. She's not real. Okay? And it says, no, there's no breath in their lungs. It's not living. It's not there to, it's not listening to and protecting your family. Okay? Let the people who made these idols and all who trust in them become just like them. And what is it? If it's not living, and it's saying, then the scriptures are saying, let the people who worship these things be just like the not living. What do you think is going to happen to you? You know what I mean? What do you think is going to happen to you? I mean, this is a warning from the Lord. You know what I'm saying? You got to take heed to that. Okay? So, let's keep going. So the Lord is saying that these things are not, these idols are not even living. They don't hear you. They're not watching you. They don't care, because they're it's just a picture. You're praying to a picture, praying to a thing created by man. You know what I mean? And not praying to the true source. You know what I mean? And not asking for forgiveness from the true source or protection from the true source. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with our people. We are misled. Hey, shalom to Christ. What's going on? All right, so let's keep moving. Now, there is something that when we say that the things that are not real, the praying to this portrait, you know that a lot of our brothers and sisters have this portrait hanging up in their churches, hanging up in their homes. You know what I mean? And they feel so they feel like there's such an importance to this picture that, you know what I mean, they even gave the photo the image angelic powers. So not just the doctrine, but they gave the portrait angelic powers. Okay? let's get into a little bit of details of how they feel about the portrait that was made of this image, this false idol, and this image that was made. Okay, so it says they believe the way Mary's eyes that were painted reflected in an exact three-dimensional probation, just like the human eye. So they're saying that the way that her eyes were painted is like it's a three-dimensional type of eye, where more than likely that this portrait is literally drawn to see you, to look at you. It's above his time. It can there's something about it that's so angelic that the portrait can actually has a form of seeing. That's what they're trying to say. Okay, and it says that the painting has high details in the eyes, and that there is a reflection of 13 people in her eyes. So what they're trying to say is, they're trying to say that there's the reflection that's in her eye. Like, there's so much detail in the painting that there's details in her eyes that she's looking at 13 people. If you look into the eyes and see the reflection of the eyes, that she's looking at 13 people. So the image that is reflecting from her eyes is her seeing the roses being dropped out from Juan Diego's clothes. You know what I mean? So she's watching it happen as it's happening. And that's what they're trying to say, that portrait has so much details that you can see the act happening in her eyes as it's happening. She's looking at the bishop, she's looking at Juan Diego, and she's looking at supposedly some families in the background. And it's like a representation that she's not only in the church, but she's with her family. Like, this is what they're saying. This is the doctrine that they created, but this is for the portrait. This is not just for the actual this is for the portrait. They're giving the portrait a doctrine as well. Okay, so let's keep going. It says the image of the eyes are reflecting the scene of Juan dropping the roses through the perspective of Mary's eyes. Okay, and it says Dr. Philip Callahan, a NASA scientist and professor, says that there is no trace of paint on the original image. It changes colors when viewed from different angles. Says there are no brush strokes on the picture, but the painting was created on one single stroke or one single act. So they're saying that this portrait, that this image that happened, it just manifested. You know what I mean? It just came, like, it wasn't even painted. No one even created it. It was just manifested by one single stroke. It was a miracle. It just the image just appeared. And the original portrait, it wasn't painted on. They're saying that there's no brush strokes of a painter on there. Like an artist painting the portrait. It's just one full just swoop, like a one act, and it's just the image was just there. That's what they're trying to say. It angelically was just created. The original portrait. That's what they're saying. Okay, let's keep going. It says this is wild right here. This is wild right here. It says Dr. Carlos Fernandez del Castillo, he's a gynecologist, said that based on Mary's physical appearance, her approximate due date is December 25th. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? What they're saying is, by even the image of seeing her, you could see that during the time period when the portrait was manifested, and by looking at the features of her body from the time period where the portrait was manifested, that her due date was on December 25th, which they try to say is Christ's birthday, which is untrue. It's not. Yes, exactly. It's not true. He wasn't born on December 25th. It's complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. But it all has a it all has a link to all the false doctrines that were created about the Bible, about Christ, about Mary, about Immaculate Conception, about everything that they made up, and they started creating their own religion out of the scriptures of the Bible. You know what I mean? They started creating their own doctrines out of that. You know what I mean? They took our records because of our disobedience. They took our records, they took the righteousness within our teachings, and they formed it into wickedness. And this is what they got. You know what I mean? True. It is very funny, but it's funny, but it's not funny, because our people really, really take this to heart. They believe in this wholeheartedly. If you grew up in that Catholic Church, this is something that you witnessed growing up. You know what I mean? This is something that you witnessed, you know what I mean, on your day to day, and our people are still being destroyed with it because of the doctrines that are being taught within the church. You know what I'm saying? Within the Catholic Church. So it's funny, but it's not funny, because our people are destroyed because of it. Our people are destroyed because of this false doctrine, and them giving Mary, so-called Mary, them giving this portrait angelic powers. So now our people believe that putting this portrait in the schools, in their homes, in their churches, gives them some type of supernatural protection or blessings or ways of getting closer to God, because this portrait is in their homes or in their church. That's what it's succumbed to. Okay, so they're saying that Mary was due on, so-called Mary was due on December 25th, just judging by this portrait. Okay, let's keep going. And these are people who are supposedly professors and, you know what I mean, doctors and stuff like that. They're all agreeing to this. Okay, and it says Mary chose to appear in the nationality, or how can I say nationality? She appeared in the likeness of a what is it called? A mestiza. And what a mestiza is, it's a mixed child of Spanish and Aztec features. It was kind of like a look down type of nationality at that time period. You know what I mean? It was like the lowest class of people who were just like breaded with Aztec and Spaniard, and it's kind of like at that time period, they try to say it's like a disgrace to have that mixture within you. So they saying that this is how she appeared. She appeared in that type of nationality, and it's just to show that she's there also with the people who are in poverty and poor and being looked down upon. She came in that image. So they're kind of trying to give her a Christ type of background. You know what I mean? She came in the image of the people that were in the lowest state. Okay, so that's the best way I could put it. So this is all what they're saying as far as what it comes to the image that we see on that screen right here. You know what I mean? The brother said, or somebody has said, they get on their knees and bow down and they crawl. Let's see that real quick, because I got that right here actually. If let's go to that real quick, because I just seen that. Here it is right here. Now peep this.
Seriously, aliens live in Stonehenge.
Says the guy.
This is
cable internet.
ad. Bear with me real quick. All right, check this out. Look at this. Look at this sister right here. On her knees. Crawling on her knees. This is how wicked this doctrine is. This is how serious our people take this false idol. You know what I'm saying? One more time. We got the sister crawling to that image. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? This is wickedness. I mean, this is oppression. You know what I mean? This is all oppressors' ways of destroying us. This is just what they want. You looked into the history of this whole thing, it's nonsense. It's complete false doctrine. It has absolutely nothing to do with the Bible. But our people will still pray to Mary, or the so-called Mary, or whatever that image is, and they'll, you know what I mean, give their all and give their jewels to this image because they serve this image. You know what I mean? And it's just destruction on our people. So that's pretty much the background of everything that's going on with this wicked day that our people celebrate today. You know what I mean? I'm gonna read the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse 19. Habakkuk 2 and 19. I'll probably get one more precept and then we can bounce. What if y'all tuning in too? I see Sister Olivia is in here, Brother Trey Moore, Shalom, Casey, Denny's still up in here, Locke's still up in here. What if y'all tuning in? You know what I'm saying? So we'll get to two more precepts and then we can be done away with this whole thing. But Psalms 135 is a perfect precept for that. Perfect. So the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 19. And it reads, woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise. It shall teach, behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. So it's a unliving thing that this sister is crawling to. She's crawling to something that has absolutely no power, has absolutely no existence other than the history that we put on it. You know what I mean? Or our oppressors put on it. It can't jump, it can't bless you, it can't, you know what I mean, protect you, it can't guide you into a righteous path. It's only going to guide you into wickedness and to being unalived. You know what I mean? And you'll be just as unalived as that portrait is. You know what I'm saying? So it's time for our people to wake up. Stop serving these false idols. Stop serving these false days that are created and not real. Stop putting your hopes and dreams into the doctrine of a sodomite. You know what I mean? Stop putting your attention into people who come to you telling you that they are the chosen holy ones, and you know what I mean, they teach you about nothing but wickedness. You know what I mean? Stop putting your energy into that. It's time for our people to wake up. It's time for our people to do away with these images who have done nothing for us. You know what I mean? Our people are still destroyed out here. Our people are still the most populated in prisons. Our people are still the most populated in poverty. Our people are still being killed and destroyed for no reason. We're the highest in drugs and overdoses and all that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are being destroyed on a day in and day out basis, and yet we still continue to keep putting our efforts into things that have not helped us. It's time for us to open our eyes up and learn how to serve the Lord in the right day. If you are celebrating the day of Guadalupe, you are serving a false idol. You are serving a false doctrine. You are praying to a false image. It's not Mary, and you shouldn't be praying to Mary anyways, regardless. You should be praying for our people to get out of this hell so we can stop being fooled into these ridiculous doctrines, because this doctrine is ridiculous. It's like the fact that it shows that enslavement forced us to have to believe into Christianity and Catholic doctrines. Being enslaved and being oppressed forced us to believe in that, because it's nonsense. You know what I mean? And it shows why our brothers and sisters, you know what I mean, of the 10 tribes rejected the Catholic and Christian church. It shows, because it's just a bunch of nonsense. But what they wanted to do was they try to push that, oh, well, you know what I mean, this idol is just like you and it's angelic. You should serve it. You should pray to it. No, you should not. You know what I mean? Pray to the God of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I was about to say something I was not supposed to say. Pray to the nigga God. You know what I'm saying? Pray to the Lord who is the actual protector of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and who actually wants salvation for us, who actually is going to put us in position where we rule and we overcome this whole wicked nation. The nations that have given us false doctrines like this. You know what I mean? So rise up, Israel. You know what I mean? Get up off your knees. Stop praying to this image. Throw this image out your house. Burn it. Use it as firewood. It's cold outside. You know what I'm saying? Do something with it. Destroy it. Because at the end of the day, the Lord hates that image. The Lord hates that our people are praying and worshiping a false image. You know what I mean? The Lord hates it. And we have to understand that the Lord hates it. There's nothing righteous about what we are doing by celebrating these days or praying to these images. I mean, that's completely against the Bible. It goes completely against what the Lord wants us to do. The Lord does not want us building altars and praying and praising images, idols. He doesn't want us doing that. Should be building no altars for anybody. You know what I'm saying? We should be following these laws, statutes, and commandments, and begging the Lord for salvation so we can build his altar in our homeland and the place that we're supposed to be in our kingdom. You know what I'm saying? That's what we should be begging for under the authority of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much it. That's all I got for y'all. I mean, anything in the chat y'all want to bring up, or because we can just end that right there. I got a couple of more idol precepts, but we're just getting into why the Lord hates these false idols, why the Lord hates us praying and building altars to false idols. So it's no need to continue to keep on going over and going over. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. Okay. All right. Well, the water for tuning in. You know what I mean? It's time for our people to wake up. It's time for our people to really educate ourselves and really stop to serving these false idols, because perilous times are coming. You know what I mean? And in these perilous times, we're going to need protection. We're going to need protection for our families. We're going to need protection for our children. We're going to need protection. You know what I'm saying? And the only way to get that protection is by following the Lord the right way. And and that's the only way that we're going to receive that salvation, by serving him the right way. And by worshiping these false idols, we'll be stuck into this wicked nation. We'll be stuck here. You know what I mean? So it's time for us to wake up and stop this madness, stop this nonsense. If it just doesn't sit right, and if it doesn't follow what the scriptures say, it's not of God. You know what I mean? God gave us the blueprint. It's up for us to follow it. So with that, shalom, brothers. Shalom, sisters. The water for tuning in.